Hi guys, it's Margarita Skypin, another episode of Questions and Answers and Basic Jewelry Knowledge. Today we're going to talk about buying things online, buying jewelry online, and why you would buy jewelry online and why you wouldn't. I'm going to go through this quick. You know that I love going through my lists quick. I find that videos are the best when they're the most informative, so I'm just going to go through for and against as I do in most of my videos. Let's go. So, for buying jewelry online, my number one on the list is you get a lot more service. And the reason I'm saying this is because really, if you get the right people, the right companies online, you do get a lot more service because, for example, we offer 3D designs, multiple photos, explanation on gemstones. We give such a huge array of services to a customer, whether they're buying engagement ring on earrings or a cocktail ring. We try to do our best to kind of service the client. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know a lot of jewelry stores that do that. I know there are some that do, but to the extent of offering so many services all in once as a package, I don't know many. But I do know other online companies or online salespeople that offer designs, explanations, Zoom calls, and Facebook, and anything that you really need in order to make the purchase more comfortable. Any type of communication goes. So for me, my number one for buying online is you get a lot more service. I know a lot of you may disagree with this, but it all comes down to finding the right company, finding the right person to do it. And the way you would do it is really reach out and find out, like, hey, I'm shopping for engagement ring. How does your process of shopping for engagement ring works? Because I have a lot of those clients, and what I write is we have a 7-step process where you choose the center stone, you choose the setting that you want, we talk about it, we go on FaceTime, we go on Zoom if you need to, we speak on the phone, or whatever you prefer, or if email is your best communication, whatever it is. For me, you have to make that decision to the best of your knowledge. Like, to me, when you make a decision that you want to purchase this engagement ring with this particular stone, it has to be your decision that you have enough knowledge that you made. So I can't expect you to say, I want an oval diamond, oval around diamond, if you don't know kind of the pros and cons of both. I want you to know about oval diamonds and round diamonds, everything there is possibly to know in order for you to make that decision. So for me, number one is that you get a lot more service by shopping online. Number two is I find that you can ask more questions. Most of my clients feel less intimidated asking questions online via email form than, for example, they would if they were to go shopping and kind of do it person to person. I know a lot of you may not think about it. We are so heavily involved in the online world right now, but for a lot of clients, that's a really good winning / sales point because they don't have to interact. Not a lot of people want to interact and go into jewelry stores and talk to people. And so for them, it's a lot easier to just email, this is what I want, this is my budget, these are the questions I have, and just go from there. I find a lot of people ask more questions and they're less intimidated when they're buying online. So that's number two. Number three is that you can bargain. I know this one's probably weird for some of you because you're like, what, bargain? But believe it or not, bargaining is a lot harder to do in person than it is online because you don't see the person, you don't know their emotions. So I do have some clients who approach me and go, okay, well, I see this ring, I know it's, let's say, $5,000. Is there anything I can do to, make it $4,500? And a lot of the times, I give a discount. It might not be $500, it might be $200, it might be whatever I can afford at that time. A lot of the times it depends what time of year you're coming. If you're coming at a busy time of year, which is September to February, then maybe I will say, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do right now, just because, I have a ton of other orders. If you're coming at a time that's slow, for example, in summer, in July or August, and you're offering me, $4,500, then I might consider it. Or I might just tell you, if there is no margin for me to discount, I can always say, okay, well, what can we do? Maybe we can make it a little bit thinner. maybe we can make, you know, the diamond or whatever gemstone you want a little smaller, or, you know, give a little bit of the clarity away, or somewhere there we perhaps can work with you with your budget. So for me, bargaining is number 3. And a lot of the times people are reasonable. I have some clients who see some earrings and they're, let's say, $1,200, and they're like, okay, would you accept $1,100? Yeah, most of the times I would. Why not? And that's one of the reasons actually on Etsy, I believe it's this year when they installed their option to make an offer to sellers, because there's sometimes some really, really busy times. You guys, September, October, November, December is absolutely insane. Like, I cannot tell you how busy we get. But during other times of year, there are some times where you'd be happy to give a discount and make something and sell something, because it's just a different time of year and it's a different type of situation. So, and for me, I think in the industry we're in, bargaining is pretty normal. A lot of people bargain. I'm not talking about unreasonable bargaining where the ring is $5,000 and you're coming to me and saying, can you make it for $1,000? That's not going to happen. But somewhat of a reasonable bargaining, I feel like online it's a lot more approachable, because when you're in person at a jewelry store, you know, people can take it the wrong way or get upset and all these emotions. But I feel like online, you're a lot more, you know, kind of easier to go that step, because you don't know the other person on the other side of the company, and if they say no, it's okay too, right? Like, there's no harm in asking is what they say. So for me, I find number 3 is bargaining. Number 4 is accessibility is a lot better. And I already said this with sellers today, such as myself and a lot of others. If you wanted to do a phone call or FaceTime or Zoom, or send me, you know, 10 emails before we proceed, it's okay with me. I'm fine with that, because I understand that you're making purchases that you want to be sure of. So for me, if you tell me, listen, we need to arrange a Zoom call or a FaceTime call, it's not a problem. Actually, I love it, because I feel like you're more, you know, involved in the project, and therefore the result will be a lot better. Actually, will tell you that you should be interested in that. The results are always better when the client is involved. I find that. Number 5, you save time. A lot of us are really busy, and how many stores do you have to visit in order to talk to them and see what their prices and what their quote are? You know, this way I feel like you save time, because online you can send an email to 3-4 companies, 3-4 jewelers, look at their reviews. You can, you know, find an instant answers to how much a diamond ring is, what their process is. So you save time. In a matter of a day, you can find out what the prices are, what the timing is, what the process is. So for me, it's saving time. Number 6, you learn more about the item. And this one is interesting. I find that when you come to the store, you are greeted by people that work there that are not necessarily in the knowledge of what the piece is all about. Like, all our pieces are either born with a story or inspired by something. So some of my clients reach out to me and say, I love this cocktail ring, it's so beautiful, can you tell me more details about it? And I always tell them the story behind that ring, the story of the design of that ring, what inspired us to do that ring. So for me, I find that when you find a seller online direct, you can ask questions and really find out the history, you know, about some of the items that they sell. So for me, I think that you get a lot more information than if you would to walk in the jewelry store. Don't get me wrong, in the jewelry store there are also some knowledgeable staff that can tell you, but I just find that it's more of a generic answers that you get there, like what the clarity and color and cut is, as opposed to when you have an actual jeweler online that you know or adore their pieces. There's a lot more that they can tell you about the piece that you're interested in. So number 7, this one is interesting. You can return something if you don't like it. And I'm going to do another video on what are some of the tricks you can do for buying online, but this is a big one for a lot of people. We do, just like any other store, have clients who say, listen, I love these earrings, but if they're not going to work out for me, can I return them? And the answer is absolutely. If you get these pair of earrings and you look at them and you feel that the size or the color or something is off and you're just not in love with them, you can return them, as long as it's within the window, within the return window. Okay, number 8. I find that shopping online is more trustworthy. I know that doesn't go for everyone online who sells jewelry, but in general, on Etsy, on 1stDibs, on some of the other platforms, you can read about the jewelers. You can really do your research, understand how they work based on the reviews, feel them out based on how and what they write in the description. So I find that those things are more trustworthy as opposed to going to a jewelry store down the street, because you can't really get the feedback. So let's say there's two stores down my street and they're both jewelry stores. I walk in, I may like the person I'm dealing with, I may not. I may like the jewelry items, I may not. But there isn't really a way to find out what others had an experience with the store. I know we now have all these platforms and Google, and you can still read reviews, but I still find for me that online your research would be a lot easier, because sellers like myself, we really value feedback. I really value reviews. I do my best to get a good review, and I try to get things out in time. I try to get it exactly the way I described it in order to earn your review. So I find that I have to work harder to earn your review, because you are buying online. I understand how hard it is to buy online. So for me, I find that number 8 would be that you can do a lot more research online and get easier a trusted jeweler than you would in person. That concludes my list for shopping online for jewelry, and we're going to go through 3 points against shopping jewelry online. Number 1 is you can't see it, especially if you're the type of person that really enjoys touching and seeing things. I know now we're all sort of moving online in general, just a trend. But if you're the type of person that really enjoys this type of thing where you need to see it and feel it out, I guess buying online would be really, really hard for you. So that's my con right there, number 1. Number 2, you can't return it. I know I've said that for shopping online, but I have this also against shopping online, because there are quite a few items you can't return. Our custom rings you can't return. So if you ordered a custom ring and we made it just for you with your stones, you can't return it. If you bought a ring and it was a complex ring and we had to resize it for you, you can't return that. You're sort of married to it. We offer a lot of different things like exchange and using a center stone to recreate rings, but in general, with custom things and things that were modified just for you, you can't just easily return them without having to pay a fee somewhere. So that's my number 2 for against buying online. And number 3 against buying online is that you have to trust the person that you're dealing with. This is interesting because I know I've said that for buying online, but at the same time, I know a lot of stories where people didn't read reviews and they didn't do their research. They kind of just stumbled upon a store and bought something. And then they couldn't return it because the window was closed, or it was a non-returnable jewelry piece. And then they come to us and we have to recreate something, and I hear all these stories. So I put it as a point against buying online, because if you are buying online, you really have to find a person that you trust. This is very, very crucial for anyone out there. So my biggest point for today: please do your research. Take a look at their Pinterest account, Instagram account, Facebook account, YouTube videos. Really get the feel for the seller, whether they are for you, whether you can work with them. And then start asking questions or buying online. Because if you don't feel like you're clicking with the person that's behind the store or behind the jewelry items, you may either be disappointed or disappointed in the way their process works. Okay, so my biggest point for today is do your research before you buy online. It's Margareta Skypen. I am the leading gemologist for Magnons and for Miami Jewels. We own 3 stores, 2 on Etsy and 1 on 1stDibs. If you love to shop online with me and you're clicking with me, then all the links are below. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.